Then we have the 4th, 7th, and 10th houses. I wanted to group all these together because they have a similar connotation, and that's the connotation of happiness. That's a strange idea, right? We think of the 4th house as the house of happiness, okay? Because it is the house of our happiness. It's the happiness we contain within ourselves. Parashara, he says something unique though. He says the 7th and 10th house are specifically for happiness, and the 5th and 9th houses are specifically for wealth. So I talked about how the 5th and 9th houses in a Maha Yoga can help a person with wealth. A person's expressing themselves on their creative destiny, they're going to get wealth. It's just how it works. But the 7th and 10th, how do they relate to happiness? And why does Parashar say the 7th and 10th have to do with happiness, but he didn't mention the 4th, which we know is the house of happiness, okay? Because what he means there is that the 7th and 10th are the houses that we take actions upon that will determine our happiness. So if we use our 7th and 10th right, we're going to give ourselves cause for happiness in our lives. So we have the causes of happiness. And we have these causes because of the actions we do. The actions that affect our happiness are dominantly the actions of the 7th house and the actions of the 10th house. And that's why he says the 7th and 10th have to do with happiness. Now, of course, he didn't say the 4th house isn't happiness. Earlier he said in the Bhava rule, what the Bhavas represent, the 4th house is happiness. All right. It's the happiness we have within us. It's our innate state of happiness. But then we do actions in this world to create happiness. That we create actions to try to find happiness. And that's the 7th and 10th houses. And if we do bad actions in those houses, actions that don't work, so if we have a Danya yoga revolving around those houses, or the Kala interchange yoga, the Kala Parvatana yoga of the 3rd house and the 7th or the 10th, then we have, we do things that don't give us cause for happiness. We might still be happy if we have a good 4th house, but we don't have a cause for being happiness. You understand? So if you look at someone's life and you say, gosh, everything they do equals happiness in my book, expect to see a 7th and 10th house. That's good. If you see a person who everything they do gives no cause for happiness, everything they do the dumbest things in love, they do the dumbest things in managing their lives, which is the 10th house, you're like, they have no reason to be happy. They do everything backwards from happiness. That's someone who has a bad 7th and 10th houses. Okay, so you get the idea of the 7th and 10th? So, with these interchanges, the 4th house interchange and a good house just shows something you're innately happy about. This thing has given you happiness that can never be taken away. This thing is always part of your happiness. It's just part of your makeup. You're happy with this thing. You're happy with working with this thing, whatever that other house is. This thing is just a source of your innate happiness. It's just that simple. Usually, and quite often, it's just something that's always been around you. You've always had it to some degree. It's just something you know that's always going to be there. It's going to be a security thing, a safe place to go to find happiness and to fall into yourself to find happiness. See, happiness is a funny thing. We think of the 4th house as the house of happiness. But then it's the house of our house, right? It's like, wait, house and happiness, how do they have to do with each other? Well, don't look at it as so much a house with your TV set and your jacuzzi and your weight room and, in my case, your office. Because then it's no longer a house. It's your gym. It's your place of work. God knows what else it is, right? Look at the 4th house as meant to be a burrow. A burrow meaning, the little hole you go up into and crawl away to be safe from everything else. And in that safety, you can let go of everything. You can drop it all. You can stop protecting yourself. You can stop paying attention to every little noise, every little possible threat. And you could just relax and be with yourself and be with life in a non-active way. And in that state, happiness naturally starts to rise. Okay? What happens to people who go to war? And all night long there's bombs going off, right? And every time they go out, there's little bullets flying past them, or they see someone get blown apart. They're constantly on this high alert state, and they lose all their happiness, and they get post-traumatic stress disorder, and they become unable to ever be happy again. The reason is because they didn't get enough home time. They didn't get enough time to go away from everything threatening and dangerous and exhausting and tiring, to just go into a place where happiness can naturally arise. So that's why the fourth house is your home. It's the place you can go that's safe and secure, where being in that safe place where you don't have to defend yourself against all the traumas of the world, all the bullshit of the world, all the stresses of the world, all the emails, the phone calls, the people bickering at you, the people throwing things at you, the people acclaiming you, just getting away from all that noise, into a place where happiness can just come to the surface again. That natural happiness can just start emerging like a spring out of the earth. The fourth house also rules springs and wells, where happiness just comes out of the earth, where happiness just comes out of ourselves. So we need to have that place to go. Okay? Any interchange with the fourth house, that's a Mahayoga, shows a place that we can be in that place and carry that happiness with us and find that happiness. It'll be a stress-free place for us, unless there's some afflictions, okay? It'll be a stress-free play. It'll be another home, another place we can go where we can just let the happiness arise naturally. So it's a really nice thing to have an interchange between the fourth house and another house, okay? We have an interchange, okay, then the 7th and 10th, they're the things, the actions we do that can cause us to have a cause for happiness or a cause for unhappiness. So for instance, if we act in our relationships in an intelligent way, we can have cause for happiness, meaning we can be married to someone that people would say, wow, you should be really happy in your marriage. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be happy in your marriage. Your emotional state's going to determine if you're happy in marriage. But you may have cause for happiness in your marriage if your 7th house is good. When your 7th house is interchanged with another house, you're doing things that give you cause for happiness. Are you going to be happy? Well, yes, if you have a cause for happiness, there'll be something to be happy about. But your ultimate happiness will still be limited by your emotional health, of course, okay? But you'll be doing something that gives a cause for happiness. And by cause for happiness, I mean an excuse. I'm happy because I got a great wife. Okay. No, you're not. You're happy because you're happy. You have a great wife because you have a great wife. Those are two different things. A lot of people have great wives and are miserable, right? So you see that the cause is just what we explained the excuse on. Let's say we have an interchange between the 7th house and the 8th house. Now we have cause to be miserable, right? To be unhappy. Because the 7th house in a Danya Yoga is going to give us cause to be unhappy. Meaning we're going to do the things, we're going to take actions in our relationships that guarantee us to have a reason to be miserable. We get to say, I'm miserable because this part of my life sucks because of the dumb things I did that didn't work. Okay? And we have a cause to be miserable. So the 7th and the 10th give us an excuse, a cause. Okay? But it doesn't change how we feel instinctively. We can do everything dumb in a relationship but be an innately happy person and all have a sordid trail of horrible relationship experiences and we couldn't ever say, I'm happy because of that person, yet still be happy because we're an innately happy person. So understand, by I mean cause, I mean something if we wanted to, we could blame our happiness on. But we can never really blame our happiness on anything other than the fact that we're either happy or we're not as a being. Okay? 7th house interchanges are going to give us a cause for happiness based on our actions, being healthy actions with other people, partners, the public, and our spouse. Okay? Our interchanges with those people will give us cause to be happy. There'll be an area that we do well at that give us something in life to be happy about. How happy can we be about it? Well, that depends on our ability to be happy. Okay? If you got Saturn, Rahu, Mars, and the Sun all in the 4th house, you'll have cause for happiness with that 7th house interchange, but you're just a really unhappy person, so it's going to be hard to appreciate all that happiness that thing could cause you. Okay? So that's how the 7th house is the house of happiness. The 10th house is a house of causative happiness as well. Simply, am I doing the things to create a life that's not burdensome? Okay? Am I doing the things to create a life that works? See, the 10th house is the house of work, right? Why do we go to work? We go to work just so we have a life that works. A life where we can say, oh, I want to buy that house, and I can write a check every month for it. Okay? A life that says, oh, I need to go to the store and buy food, and I have enough money in the bank to buy the food. We want our lives to work, which means we want to have what we need to do the next thing in our lives. And the 10th house is all about that. It's about the work that we do to make our life work. And it's also the work we do to make other people's lives work. Like a ruler of the country, the king, the 10th house, his life is supposed to be about making life work, but not just for himself, for the whole country. And depending on his ability, he's able to make life work better or less for himself and for other people, for his country. Okay? So the 10th house is about, it's the work to make life work versus the work to make life not work. If you have a Maha Yoga involving the 10th house, you're making life work. When life works, you have cause for happiness. I have enough money to pay all my bills, I can buy any food I want, and I can take vacation time when I feel like it and not starve to death. That's a life that works, right? That life works. If you don't have that kind of life, you have cause for misery, right? If you have a Danya Yoga with the 10th Lord, your life's not working, okay? As a theme, your life doesn't work. You're constantly doing things that don't work. As a result, you have a life that you have lots of cause to feel miserable about, all right? The happiness causes of life working are destroyed when the 10th house is in a Danya Yoga interchange with the 6th, 8th, or 12th Lord. But in a Maha Yoga interchange, the 10th house gives you a life that works. It works in general, and it works very, very well in the context of the house it interchanges with. That's the context where life works the best for you. Okay, so everything I said about 10th house interchanges so far, when I covered the 5th house, the 9th house, the 1st house, they all create a life that works for the person. Okay? So, the 7th and 10th in good interchanges creates cause for happiness when they're in a Maha Yoga. The 4th Lord, when it causes a Maha Yoga, is something we can be happy with. It's an area of life where happiness can emerge. So we're more fortunate. We don't just have to go into our burrow and escape everything in the world to be happy. We can also go to that other house, and that also can be our second home, our second safe place of having happiness. So that's really, really nice. It's a really nice Maha Yoga if the 4th Lord's involved. Okay? All right, so, and apply these ideas. I'm trying to teach the concepts here. Okay? Understand these ideas at the 4th, 7th, and 10th, and use it when they're interchanged with any other house, including the ones I've already talked about where I didn't even mention this, like the 1st and 4th house interchange. Now, with that interchange, a person not only has a home that they can go to allow happiness, but just in being with themselves in their day-to-day lives, it allows them, in that process, happiness can continue to bubble out of them. Okay? That being just themselves, following their path in life, is another safe place for them to innately become more happy, which is really nice. They don't just have to go do it in front of their altars in their house, in their burrow. They can do it all the time, wherever they're going. Okay? All right, so The interchanges we haven't covered. We haven't covered 4th with 7th and 4th with 2nd. Let's start with 4th with 2nd. So 4th with 2nd house. This is a person who's happy with their responsibilities. Whatever it is that life asks of them, whatever it is they have to take care of it, whatever it is that has their name on it, because the 2nd house is everything that has your name on it. Everything you say, my food, my friend, my job, everything that you attach your name to, it's the 2nd house. The person is just innately happy with those things. They're happily dealing with those things. They're happily spending their lives with those things. Really nice combination. It tends to be productive a lot of good wealth, because we've got the 4th house, which is a house of getting a big share of wealth in the life and real estate, with the 2nd house. So it's a nice combination. Okay? So this is always something good that the person has in their life. And again, they might have all the other shit of all the other bad planets. But at least if you have a Maha Yoga, it's something you always have some of. Okay? Although, you could also have a lot of junk that you're dragging behind your Maha Yoga. But at least you have the Maha Yoga, at least as a little sweetness in your life. Okay? Then the 4th house interchange with the, we did 5th with the 7th house interchange. Now we have the house of innate happiness, the 4th, with the 7th house, the house of, one of the houses of causative happiness, the cause of doing the right thing with your partner. So this is a person who's going to be very happy in their relationships. Their being with their partner will allow for the same happiness to emerge as being by themselves in their safe place will be. Their partnership will be felt as a safe place to be. That's a natural expression of their feelings. And the things they do in their partnerships will be an honest expression of what they're feeling. So as a result, they'll do the right thing in relationships. They'll follow their feelings truthfully. And out of that, do actions in their relationships that give the kind of relationship that people say, wow, that relationship is a reason to be happy. Okay, so a really nice combination. 4th and 9th house, we covered. 4th and 10th house. Okay, the 4th and 10th house is especially a strong combination for success. Parashar really likes this for giving success. The 4th and 10th and the 1st and 10th, he both gives as yogas for power and success. Okay, so here's a person who in their work, 10th house, is finding happiness. And work is a safe, solid, secure place to be. Work works for them so well, they can be happy at work, as if they're at home. And then the 10th Lord, of course, is in the 4th, completing that interchange. So they're also working on their happiness. They know how to make life work in a way to be happy, because it works with and reflects their emotional needs and who they are emotionally. Work contrary to who we are emotionally is not satisfactory. Right? And people do this sometimes. You'll get people involved in work that they really like, but emotionally, they're not right for that work. Okay? Like you might get a person who's really interested in emergency medical care, but who emotionally suffers from anxiety. And so they go out and they know everything about emergency medical care, but when they get in the ambulance and go on a run, they're so stressed out, they can't enjoy the process. Okay? That's not a nice thing. Being emotionally compatible with your work creates a lot more room for happiness, because then when you're at your work, you're feeling at home. And you can just be the natural happy person you are without feeling stress. So it's a really nice interchange, the 10th and 4th interchange. Then we have the 4th and 11th house interchange. 11th house is the house of gaining things and increasing things, and the 4th house is the house of happiness. The 11th house, more importantly, is the house of peers and groups and society. So here's a person who can feel very much at home with their peers, with their groups, with society, and as a result, have happiness with those things and experience more happiness within themselves with those things. Okay? Another really nice combination. Also, all these yogas will help with wealth, help us have more happiness with our marriage life. Like I mentioned, 11th house is the house of love received from the world, and part of that world is your spouse. So a good 11th house helps you get more love from your spouse. interchange that with the 4th house of happiness, you're happy with the love you get from your spouse. Really nice. Okay. That's 4th house interchanges. Okay, 7th house interchanges give us cause for happiness because of how we deal with our relationships. Interchange with the 2nd house, a person has cause for happiness because they're responsible in their relationships. They take care of things. They take care of their partner, and their partner takes care of them. Okay? They're friends with their partners. They're willing to do something for their partner because they're their partner, not just because they want something from their partner. Okay? And they're committed. The 2nd house, you say mine. They identify with their partner, and so they treat the partner the way they would treat any valuable possession, which is with care and responsibility and without abuse. So that having a relationship like that is going to give you a good relationship that gives you cause to be happy with. Okay? Then we have 7th with the 5th I talked about. Now, the 7th and 5th, one thing I wanted to add though, again, on the line of cause for happiness. Then when the 5th interchanged with the 7th, the person, because they're in strong love with their partner, that gives them a great cause for happiness. They're in love with the person they're with. That's just simply put it that way. And being able to marry a person that you're actually in love with as an extension of who you are, meaning an extension of your whole creative process and how that person fits into all that as a very dynamic love relationship, that gives you a good cause to be happy. Okay? But like I said, if they're afflicted, there could be so much passion it can get misdirected at times. Okay, then we got the 7th and 9th house I talked about. And again, 7th and 9th house gives the cause of being mature and idealistic in your relationship, and therefore, or acting it with maturity and ideally and truthfully with your partners and relationships. So those things are good things that give you cause for happiness. The 7th and 10th house interchange aren't really as nice in lots of ways as the 7th and 5th or 7th and 9th, because it's always nice to get an angle and a trine compared to 2 angles, okay, in many cases. The 1st and 4th are really nice because the 1st house is a trine, so it's interchanged with that angular house, the 4th. And the 1st and 10th is really nice because it's a trine again with an angle 10th house. But the 7th and the 10th, you get 2 angles. So here we get a very busy person. And you can say it's easier for them to be busy and create causes for happiness than to really live happily, though. So the 7th, 10th house interchange does a lot that would give cause for happiness, but it's not quite as happy as some of the other combinations I talked about. But they can have plenty of causes. They have plenty of successes, plenty of good things in their relationship, plenty of public appreciation, plenty of power. If they're a business person, plenty of business. But they're just not as attuned to it as if you'd get the 5th or 9th house. They're not as invested in it. They're not going to appreciate it as much, because the trine houses, 1, 5, and 9, are the houses of what we really are. And we can appreciate the things that work in our life that are about who we really are more, okay, than things that we just do. But the 7th, 10th house interchange will do a lot of things that give cause for happiness. They'll do work that gives cause for happiness. They'll have relationship that's good, that gives cause for happiness. They'll do financially, they'll have cause for happiness. Respectfully, they'll have cause for happiness. They'll have every cause for happiness and abundance. But there'll be a part of them indicated by the trine lords that's over here with a whole other important thing to their life. And if that was plugged into that cause, their life would even be richer. So it's a great combination, but again, it's nice when a trine is involved. Okay? Even if you have one of these nice trine lords joined with the 7th or 10th lord, now the person's cause for happiness includes who they really are and what they instinctively and naturally love, which is the trine houses. Okay? Then we have the 7th and 11th house. This gives cause for happiness due to all the benefits you gain from the public and your relationships. Just simply put, You have plenty of cause for happiness because your life with the public, your life with relationships, your life with people is very fortunate. Okay? And the person usually plays relationships in a way to gain the most from them, knows how to approach people in a way to really benefit, and that means so the other people are benefiting too. Because the only way we can truly benefit long-term from other people is if they're also benefiting, right? That's the right way to play relationships. The 7th and 11th house interchange is very capable of that right way, okay? So a lot of great thing about their lives is benefits from people, benefits from relationships, benefits from spouse, benefits from their ability to relate to others, okay? That's it for 7th house interchanges. Now we have 10th house interchanges. So this makes a person have a cause for happiness because they make their life work. Interchanged with the 2nd house, we have a person who is very responsible in a materialistic way. Okay? Financially responsible, responsible for their health, responsible for the things in their life, the people in their lives, and all that kind of stuff. It's a combination that can give a lot of responsibilities, where the person has the ability to make life work for a lot of people. Not just themselves, but for a lot of people. Along with that responsibility will come all the wealth they need to fulfill that responsibility, the respect from fulfilling that responsibility, the personal satisfaction from fulfilling that responsibility, and a cause for happiness in that they're doing something really good. Okay, so that's a very nice interchange. The 10th and 4th I talked about, 10th and 5th, 10th and 7th, 10th and 9th, so 10th and 11th, the last one I have to talk about. That gives a person cause for happiness because of success. Super powerful success combination. Those people can work their way towards any success they wish. Whatever their goal is, they'll work their way into it. They have a life of working towards their goals successfully. Whatever those goals are, whatever their underlying hope is, their underlying ambition, what they want out of life, what they think is important out of life, they're able to work towards successfully. The one problem with this combination is not a 5th or 9th house. What we think is worth working towards is not necessarily what is worth working towards. The only things that are worth working towards are the 1st, 5th, and 9th houses. Self-discovery and fulfilling our creative destiny. Those are the most worthwhile things. And everything else, those things are the foundation for the happiness and benefit we can have from all of our other experiences. The 11th house can have a goal, but it's not always going to be a goal that's based on who the person really is. It'll be a goal that gives a person lots of opportunities, though, and lots of successes. But it's going to be even better if it's somehow aligned with the trine somehow, okay? Or the person has some Dharma yogas. But the 10th and 11th is a great combination for giving success. But I'd say when you get the 10th involved with the 5th or 9th, you're going to get a person, or the 1st, who's just going to feel better about their lives, even if they don't have the degree of success. The 10th and 11th is a big success giver. It gives titles, it gives honors. If anyone ever runs for an election and they have an 10th and 11th interchange, they're probably going to win the election, okay, at some point. So it's great and powerful thing in political people's chart. Anyone who's trying to achieve more and do more and have more success, more title, more renown, that's the kind of causes for happiness the 10th and 11th house gives when they interchange. Okay? All right, so enough on those 4 houses. We really try to understand the happiness qualities of the 4th, 7th, and 10th so you can understand whatever Mahayogas they may form. And of course, if they're forming a Danya Yoga, they're going to do the very wrong things. They're going to struggle to be happy if the 4th house is in a Danya Yoga. They're going to take actions to have no cause for happiness if the 7th and 10th are interchanged with 6th, 8th, or 12th in a Danya Yoga. And they'll have ups and downs if they're interchanged with the 3rd. Okay, so now you understand that whole process of these other yogas more, I hope. All right, next will be the 2nd and 11th houses. Thank you.